everyone, and welcome to another podcast with Ralph. Hope you're fine. And today we're going to talk about IELTS Task 1, Academic Writing. And today we have bar chart, and actually it's a trend graph. Well, as you can see here in the picture, what is a trend graph? A trend graph is a kind of graph, so it doesn't matter if it's pie chart or graph, line graph, or bar chart. So trend graph is basically about a duration of time. So in the, let's say, horizontal line, there are dates. So you have to analyze the graph over a period of time. So here, our bar chart is about UK telephone calls by category, and there are different categories: local or fixed line, national and international fixed line, and mobile all calls. From 1995 to 2002, we have to analyze during a period of time. And first of all, let's read the question together. The chart below shows the total number of minutes in billions of telephone calls in the UK divided into three categories from 1995 to 2002. All right, this is the question. So I start from the very first paragraph, which is introduction, and then step by step we move to the next paragraph, which is overview paragraph, and two detail paragraphs. So let's just start with introduction. What we do in our first paragraph. As you know, we have practiced this before and we have worked on it a lot. So you know that in introduction, we change the question. We paraphrase the question. We restate the question. Sometimes we change the word order. Sometimes we use some synonym words, all right, in order to change it or to restate it. And as you can see here, first of all, we read the question again, and we just figure out what kind of changes we can have on this question. So the chart below shows. The first thing we do is we change the verb. So instead of shows, we can write demonstrates. That's it. So the chart demonstrates the total number of minutes in billions. So we can change it. Instead of, let's say, writing total number of minutes in billions, we can write time spent. All right? So the chart demonstrates the time spent by British residents. Instead of UK, we can write British residents, all right? And instead of writing three categories, we can write on different types of phone calls. And instead of saying from 1995 to 2002, we can write between 1995 and 2002. All right, let's read an introduction again. The chart demonstrates the time spent by British residents on different types of phone calls between 1995 and 2002. This is a very good, well-organized, let's say, introduction. And we have clearly stated the main point in the question. And we have also used some synonym words. This is very good. Now, our next paragraph is overview paragraph. As you remember, in writing our overview paragraph, we should write about the most, let's say, striking features of this chart or of this graph. So when you first look at the chart, what is the most striking feature here? So let's take a look at chart again. All right, first of all, in writing the overview, we must be aware of the highest and the lowest in the beginning of the period and by the end of the period. So in 1995, the most prominent choice was fixed line, all right? And we never talk about details in our overview paragraph, just about the most or the least. and the least popular was mobiles, all right? But by the year 2002, mobile calls grew, as you can see, right? They grew in popularity. Still, they remained the least. And local fixed line maintained its top position by the year 2002. This is the most striking feature. And also another thing which is also important is that during the whole period of time from 1995 to 2002, the popularity of mobile phones grew over this period of time. And also national and international fixed line grew in popularity, right? But, it is not something, let's say, striking feature. By striking feature, we should talk about the least and the highest point, all right? Now, let's just start writing. So we can first write about 1995, and then we can write about 2002. In general, it is evident that we can start our overview paragraph with this phrase. It is evident that in 1995, local fixed line calls were the most prominent choice. It's a good word here, prominent. Were the most prominent choice, whereas, because I'm talking about the least, I write here, whereas mobiles were the least popular. Now, by the year 2002, although mobile calls grew in popularity, they remained the least popular choice, while local fixed line calls maintained their top position. That's it. This is my overview paragraph in which I talked about the highest point or the most popular in 1995 and the least popular in 1995. And also I talked about the most popular by the year 2002 and the least popular. That's it. And you can also talk about another feature, which is mobile grew in popularity. And of course, I put it here. All right. That's it. Now, our next task here is to divide or to categorize data here. Sometimes students categorize data based on the call types. For example, they dedicate one detailed paragraph talking about local fixed line, and next paragraph, the second detailed paragraph is about national and mobiles. What I'm going to do here is that in my paragraph 3, I'm going to divide the chart into two periods of time, from 1995 to 1998, and my second detailed paragraph will be from 1999 to 2002. All right, this is the way that I'm going to categorize my two body paragraphs, my two detailed paragraphs here. So in my first detailed paragraph, or paragraph 3, I'm going to talk about 1995 to 1998. And one thing which is important here is that for all three, as you can see, for all three call types, there was an increase, right? All three. So this is very important. I put it in my first sentence here. Specifically, from 1995 to 1998, remember, if you want to categorize data based on the duration of time, you have to start your sentence. You should tell the examiner that you are going to analyze data based on these years, right? From 1995 to 1998, local fixed lines, national and international fixed lines, and mobiles all increased in use. Now, let's talk about local fixed lines. So, as you can see, local fixed lines in 1995, it was around 72 billion minutes, all right, and it reached approximately to 90 billion minutes. And national and international fixed lines climbed, as you can see, from around 38 to, let's say, nearly 48 billion minutes. And for mobile calls, it has, let's say, the fastest growth. So it was 3 billion minutes in 1995, and by 1998 it was 9 billion. So we can say it was tripled. So it's a good word here, tripled, from 3 billion to 9 billion. Now let's start writing this paragraph. This is as what I said, starting from local fixed line. So local fixed line calls steadily rose from around 72 billion minutes to approximately 90 billion minutes, whereas national and international fixed lines climbed from about, this is very important because it's not exactly 38, so we just assume that it is around 38 billion minutes, from about 38 billion minutes to nearly 48 billion minutes. And mobile calls. Mobile calls experienced the fastest growth, nearly tripling from a mere 3 billion minutes to approximately 9 billion minutes. So did you see that how I used some adverbs in order to talk about, let's say, around or about? For example, I used approximately, right? Nearly, about, and mere, and again approximately. So these are the adverbs that you can use in order to talk not exactly about that specific number. So around, about, approximately, nearly. Now let's move on to our next paragraph. And here we should analyze from 1999 to 2002. And here again, you should definitely start your paragraph from the date, from 1999 to 2002. So what happens here? As you can see, local fixed line experience a decline, right? And national and international fixed lines, it continued to rise, right? And mobile calls surged, right? They surged. The increase in mobile calls was dramatic. Okay, so I'm going to write about this. From 1999 to 2002, local fixed lines experienced a reversal because in the previous paragraph I talked about the increase in local fixed lines. Now here it is decreased, so I can write reversal. Experienced a reversal and substantially declined back down to about 72 billion minutes. Now, for national and international fixed line, because it is completely different, so I can write in contrast. In contrast, national and international fixed line calls continued to steadily rise to nearly 6 billion minutes during the same period, while mobile calls remarkably surged to about 45 billion minutes. So, did you see what I did here? In my third paragraph, in the previous paragraph, I wrote the numbers in 1995 and 1998, and here I wrote only the data in 1999 and 2002. So there is no need to write about 2000 or 2001. Just 1999 and 2002 for all three call types here. That's it. So this is the way that we categorize data and we analyze data. So an IELTS candidate should be able to categorize well, and he or she should know what data should include in his report. This is very important. All right, guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this part and has been really helpful to you. For the next episode, I'm going to actually work on another task one, academic task one report and graph, and we're going to let's say analyze another graph for our next episode. Until next time, enjoy your time, stay tuned, and bye-bye.